Okay, so the Liberty National Bank of New York issued a $5 note in 1902. Now, Miles here was the first person to possess it, and he was courting a lovely woman named Grace. Yeah, tastes have changed. Miles decided that he wanted to use the money to buy Grace a gift, so he went to the candy store and bought the biggest box of chocolates he could find that wasn't a Whitman sampler, and wrapped it up in a beautiful bow, and he gave it to Grace. But like all good-hearted people, Grace preferred bacon, so she dumped him to join the circus. Meanwhile, the candy store owner was so excited at how well his store was doing that he decided to give himself a little treat, a hot air balloon ride. How exciting! Of course, the balloonist's pants had a hole in the pocket, so when there was a gust of wind, the note flew out and floated across the countryside. It eventually landed on a farm in Iowa, but the farmer didn't notice and plowed over it. It wasn't unearthed until 1930, but the farmer couldn't keep it because his farm had tragically burned down, so he needed to pay the builder who put it back up again. The builder kept the note for a while, but eventually he gave it to his son as a good luck charm because the war was coming. We won! And the boy returned safe and victorious. It got painted by Andy Warhol. Then came the 60s, and since the bill was there, it doesn't really remember them, but it did turn up at Nixon's resignation when Pat was using it as a bookmark. She was reading James and the Giant Peach, which was crazy good, but it dropped out of the book at the post-ceremony tea service where a lobbyist picked it up and held on to it for a good cause, which he eventually found in 1998 when he was working for a voice modulation company and used it in a bribe. Used it in a completely legitimate campaign contribution to Idaho Senator Floyd Mangerber, who sponsored legislation requiring every online video to
have voice modulation.
But he had to resign in disgrace when it was discovered that he gave the note to the Knights of Coeur d'Alene, a vicious crime syndicate. You might not have heard of them. They only operate in Idaho. And they exclusively use antique currency to avoid detection by the police. But they could only avoid detection for so long, and when their assets were seized, this 1902 banknote was put up for auction on Property Room to help make restitution for their crimes, and make a rare currency collector very happy.